Your mom.
I would love to talk about, at some point, why is it that golf draws people in? A certain type of person plays the game. Or does golf create a forum or a palette for a certain type of person's anxiety-ridden freak show? Our next guest, who's been sitting here feverishly writing away...
Gesturing.
She wants to talk because she... this will be interesting because Adam had a lot to say about the intellectual pursuit.
Smart guy. Wow.
Yeah, he's crazy smart. But and Adam's... I mean, there's so much. I feel bad because, when you know so much, it's hard sometimes to get everything out.
Right.
I don't have that problem. I can pretty much get everything I know out very quickly. But Adam's approach... I think it's going to be different than Rosa Rago, who is our guest sitting here. And I kept gesturing to you. You don't need to try this hard. Rosa, it's going to be so much fun. But Rosa's story is a little bit different. Rosa's all about mind and body. And it's funny because Rosa's been working with me the last month or so, getting me in better shape and just readjusting, or what's the word you always use? You're reformatting or... Reorganizing some of the horrible things that have been going on in my body. But recently I wrote something for her website, and I said, Rosa is one of the unique people you meet who you instantly know will make you feel better, even though you don't know why. Rosa is a world-class fitness trainer. She was a varsity-level soccer player in the United States. And I said, but she's even a better person. She will help you stretch your body and your perspective to affect positive and permanent changes. And Rosa's story, hello.
Hello.
Are those things all true?
Absolutely.
Rosa was a varsity member of a soccer team in the States of Michigan, I believe.
Central Michigan University.
And Rosa was, one of those people who played athletics at a high level, and everything was going along a certain way, and then Rosa got hit by a car. Ouch. And then everything changed.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about Rosa, and speak up.
Okay.
Speak from your diaphragm. About Rosa before. She has great posture. It's funny because
I'm crossing my legs right now.
My posture has changed in a month. It's hysterical. Like Rosa one day she took a video of what my sort of resting posture was, and I'm like, no wonder I've hurt so much. I'm like caving in on myself. Give me a couple minutes of what life was like for Rosa as an athlete, as an elite performer, prior to the accident, then the accident, and then what your path has been since then. And then we can talk about the 2.5 pages.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
The pages of notes you've been taking.
How much time do I have for this story? I can give you a really short version.
Yeah, let's get, because we have about 25 or 30 more minutes left.
Okay, so basically, I was an overachiever. I graduated with honors. I always did well in school. Things came very easy for me, but I was very loud in my head. I didn't perceive it that way at first, but that kind of way of being actually got me a lot of success. Okay, so like anyone who's really successful, usually it's because they can just fulfill so many tasks and whatever. Anyway, so basically just an athlete, really loud. I used to work out. I used to run for fun for like 2 hours. I used to, count my calories, and everything was under control. So that was kind of my approach with everything. And I found a lot of success on the outside. You
went to university on a scholarship, I think?
Yes, I was on a full ride for soccer at Central Michigan University. And so, when I got into university, the intensity of training was actually more intense. Actually, it got more intense probably when I was 17 years old. I played at a provincial and national level. And so I was playing for like 3 soccer teams at once, grade 11, grade 12. So I remember literally coming home around 3 o'clock. Dinner was already made after school. My soccer bag and everything was already almost packed. And my mom, I literally had to rush. My mom would, quickly take me to one soccer practice and the next. I'd come home, somehow manage to be, a straight A student, and just in time to go to bed and start it all over again, kind of thing. So that was kind of my life. It's all I really knew. It was just to be that way, just to go. And so it was very subconscious for me to find success that way. That was just how I was. So I actually skipped class one day. I skipped class.
This is in university?
Yes. So finally fast-tracked my 4th year university.
I think this is the foreshadowing.
Yes. I could get some foreshadowing music, but I think it's better.
I skipped class because I painted my nails and they weren't dry enough, so I couldn't go to
who
class.
among us hasn't skipped class to paint our nails, Tim? Come on.
So
No judgment.
I repressed that part.
Yeah.
I repressed it.
So I decided just to go for a quick run. So it was like 20 minutes, and I didn't take the key with me. So I told my roommate, I'm going to be back in 20 minutes. I'm not going to take the key. Are you going to be home? And she's like, yeah, okay. So I literally got back probably within 19 minutes, and I saw her across the other, on the other side of the road. And I remember yelling at her, like, where are you going? And she's like, oh, sorry, I thought I could quickly make it back, And so anyway, so we had to go back to the intersection. I had to get the key from her. And in that moment is when I crossed the street and to go get the key. And I remember her trying to call my name, but by then I got swept by a car and I flew up in the air, and I did a 360 in the air, and yeah, I was actually fully awake. I didn't get knocked out, but I actually...
I'm just curious. I don't think I've had a chance to ask somebody. When the car hits you,
Yeah.
does it hurt like a mother?
You know what? I didn't feel anything, to be honest, at first. I felt everything about 2-3 hours later. It felt like I got hit
but you got hit. The car hits you. You do a cartoon somersault in the air or something. And are you thinking, what are you thinking? Wow, I just got hit by a car.
Unfortunately, I didn't have time to think. I just, it happened it felt like a half second. But then I had 45 minutes on the ground before the ambulance came, and that's when the thinking...
But they didn't have ambulances in the town you were in?
They did, but for some reason, maybe they found out I was Canadian. They decided to wait another 45 minutes. I don't know.
Very nice.
So I'm just...
But we like our American listeners.
Yes.
Except the ones who didn't come to Rose's aid.
Right.
No, so, I just waited 45 minutes. My roommate was just kind of directing traffic to make sure I didn't get run over again. And I just kind of, the whole time I had time to think. And I actually remember my internal dialogue thinking, first, your natural reaction is like, holy shit, I just got hit by a car, right? But right away, the fear started to kick in. Like, am I going to have a heart attack? So I knew if I stressed, I would increase the chances of getting a heart attack. So right away, I just kept telling myself, it's okay. Like, just be relaxed. I kept kind of talking to myself to just chill.
What were the extent of your injuries?
Yeah.
So I have a metal plate in my left arm, and I was immobile for a while. Like, I couldn't walk. My knees were swollen. Did you ever watch The Nutty Professor?
Yes.
You know how he swells up in
The
his
original
hand
one
area?
or the Eddie Murphy one?
The Eddie Murphy one.
Okay, that's cute.
So, broken bones.
So I broke my left arm, and I have a metal plate in my arm, but everything else was really swollen everywhere. I couldn't walk for a while just because of the swelling. I thought I broke my legs, but...
So, we're basically talking about transformation, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, in your moment on the pavement, your transformation was around just being aware of what was going on and taking a look at your thought process. So it wasn't around devastation, around I'll never play soccer again because I've got a broken pelvis or something like that.
No, more around like, am I going to die? Like, am I going to go to the hospital and all of a sudden, you find out later that, I'm going to be in the newspaper and, woman gets hit by a car and hours later.
Yeah.
And then she died.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're on the ground.
Like, I'm thinking about what's happening to me internally.
Sure.
So...
And so the reason that's so significant in your story, and Rosa's website is risemindbody.com, and we'll mention that again, what she does with people and how it relates to golf. And that's going to be coming up here in a second or two. But you're on the ground, and Rosa before was this high achiever athlete, and then you had to, and going down a certain path. Mm-hmm. And then after this accident started you down a different path. Or did it start a different path right away?
You know what? I would have to say that maybe the path didn't change. The form may have changed. But I think more so the experience from my perspective and how I saw life, and therefore how I reacted to things changed. So maybe the path started to... I was more driven by fear. I later realized it was all more fear-driven, more ego-driven, whereas now it's more... I find that it's more present. I feel like every day is a new day. I'm not looking to achieve anything. Achievements happen, but they are a consequence of just being present. And
so I think this is a good spot where we can really kind of make a connection to golf here. Mm-hmm. And what Adam was talking about, and I got in there about the ego. Mm-hmm. And so for you, was a lot of your overachieving, you said it was based in fear. Mm-hmm. So is that around... meeting parents' expectations, meeting your own expectations, or just or so where were you coming from in terms of this fear?
So it wasn't a conscious choice to be driven by fear, and it's no one's conscious choice to be driven by fear. I actually didn't know I was driven by fear until I detached from being driven by fear. So you don't know what you don't know. So when you don't know what you're being until you're no longer being it.
Right.
In the process of healing, as I learned stuff about me and started to find my stillness and my silence, I started to realize I was driven by ego because I was an athlete since I was 8 years old. So it just becomes a programming that, the way athletics are built, it's around performance. It's around, it's about, I don't know.
Podium
maybe there's
finishes and
of course, it's about results and all that stuff. Although I was never really as emotionally attached. I found that my success as an athlete was because I was never really emotionally attached. I could come off the field and I was okay with it.
So I noticed during Adam's talk, you were making some notes.
Yes.
And we had talked a little bit about your appearance today and how I thought you could benefit golfers listening for a couple reasons. One is, you're a great person, you're positive to be around, and a lot of golfers might go to someone like you just to learn how to stretch or learn how to, get a little bit stronger in areas that are good for golf. But I should also mention that, Rosa at one point was out of 2,800 fitness trainers in Canada for Good Life, I believe.
Yes,
she was in the top 5. So she's an elite trainer as well. But you decided that even doing traditional training isn't something that that resonated with you anymore. You wanted to do something a little bit different, and maybe we can talk a little bit about how that would affect a golfer as opposed to just going out and getting stronger and building muscle on broken platforms.
Yes. So first, I just want to make it clear. My greater picture was always that I wanted to help people. So I wasn't attached to the form that it would take. I would just always make a choice based on what I thought at that moment was the best way. So when I graduated from university, I thought I would be a doctor because that's a way to help people. So I actually did my clinical internship at a hospital and worked with patients. And the approach to health didn't resonate for me. So I graduated and then I applied to become a personal trainer thinking I need
You had a degree in kinesiology or?
Exercise science.
Exercise science.
So I thought, okay, with this, a focus on cardiac patients and pulmonary patients. So then I thought, okay, well, how can I prevent people from getting to this point? So I thought, okay, maybe training them, being a personal trainer. So here I am with a 5-year degree with honors. I had an opportunity to actually work at the hospital that I did the internship at. And I stuck to my greater purpose, which I want to help people. So this, what I believed was to become a trainer at Good Life. And so I became a trainer at Good Life. And while working with people, it was always about making sure that I aligned with my purpose. So as I'm working with people, there's people who are losing weight. Not everyone's losing weight, but when they are losing weight, in conversation, you get to you hang out with your clients 3 times a week. That's more than, as you get older, that's not, you don't hang out with your friends that often, right? So I'm getting to know them, and as I'm getting to know them, I realize that just like the golf game, it's bringing out a side to them where it's like, what's the point? This is not fulfilling because, to me, it's as a greater purpose. I'm trying to help someone to become better, to improve the quality of their life, and even though they're getting results, there's always something else that they're not happy with, right? There was a lack of presence and all that. So then at the same time, simultaneously, I was healing my body. So that's when I started to learn things about what was going on with my body. So I had to simplify exercises for my own body, which kind of helped me I always in theory knew how to help a client, say with shoulder injury. You got to do exercise ABC. You get taught that in your courses in school and everything, but applying it and just knowing it and experiencing it are 2 different things. So it wasn't until I had to experience the exercise for myself where I realized it's very intuitive. You have to really go with what you feel. You can do an exercise that in theory is excellent for the rehab process, but if your mind is not present, you're not going to get anything out of it. So as I started to discover this through experience with my clients, I realized that before you actually train the body, your mind has to actually know the body's there. It needs to actually have a connection. So it's eventually started to evolve to a mind-body mastery. It's about really mastering the mind-body relationship and understanding that when the mind and the body have a good relationship, like in any relationship, there's harmony. And when there's harmony, there's stillness. And
I just want to stop because one thing when Tim and I were on a chipping area about a year and a half ago, and you were watching me chip, and I was having a little trouble. And I remember you saying this to me. You said, you really need to be more. Almost get more into your body, get more into as opposed to worrying about where it's going to go. You actually said this to me about, You know, you need to feel this in your body a little bit more. And then when I first met Rosa, she said, put your mind, say, I don't know, in your tricep. I couldn't. I literally couldn't feel where it was. And it
but you know it's there.
You know it's there, but it's almost like what you said, Timmy. It's like we're playing this sport, and we're just so disconnected from ourselves. And that was a powerful thing. It's funny, and I didn't appreciate it, what you said to me, until we had been talking about, hey, Howard, if I told you to flex your pec, could you do that? I'm like, I don't know. Where is it? Isn't that weird that most golfers spend so much time doing a sport that's physical without any connection to themselves physically?
It's a physical game, but we're totally caught in our heads generally. It's kind of like someone is riding a horse at their body. They're riding around going, have you seen my horse? They have no idea.
That's right.
They're connected, but they're totally disconnected from it. Because, as a society, we're generally disconnected, A, from our feelings, and B, from our bodies.
Totally.
So that's the connection that I really wanted to explore with you.
Yes.
Was how in your journey, it seems to me that you were a driven person, ego, thinking, doing all this work, really pushing yourself. But would it be right to say that you started to achieve a degree of peace in your life when you started to become more understanding of being in your body and actually feeling
absolutely
what was going on?
Absolutely.
And to me, that is the connection that most golfers just don't have.
Yes.
And as you say, is with the horse now, they're not even aware they don't have it. They don't really. Most of us we don't think of it as a physical activity, yet it's a hugely physical activity. So continue, Rosa, in terms, because I want to talk a little bit about how your relationship with, first of all, obviously we talked about your different approach to training, but also with golfers particularly.
Well, first of all, when we get in our head, the things that we're not actually even in our physical head, our thoughts are not even near us. They're totally outside of us. We can be in this room right now, and I could be thinking right now about my dog that I left at my home and thinking
you're time traveling.
Yeah, right. So that's the reality, is that we're not even to not be present. If people understand that it's because our thoughts are not in us. So the closer we get to our bodies, if we were like an onion, we literally need to get down to the core, which is actually even the physical spine. If we're so in our thoughts, it's impossible that we can actually even perceive our body and our emotions. And the thing is too, is our emotions are, fear is an illusion. It's not even real. So we perceive and experience emotion through our body. So when you have butterflies, it happens in your stomach. When you get excited, you feel that in your stomach or whatever. When someone hurts your feelings, you know what I mean? Your body reacts to it. So that right there is just proof that our emotions exist in our body.
Absolutely.
And so when we suppress them, we do so while suppressing them because we don't want to feel emotion. So naturally we numb ourselves. So we actually detach from the body. And that's why we can't feel our bodies when we close our eyes and try to feel it.
And we pour alcohol on them.
But from a golfer
standpoint,
but from a golfer standpoint, and sort of I'm not discounting what Adam said. When you're emotionally upset, good, bad, excited, golfing, good hole, bad hole, embarrassed, whatever, those are physical.
Yeah, so
it manifests itself. We've all felt that.
Your body is your gateway to your feelings.
Yes, absolutely. But what's happening there is that before you walked on, the golf course that day, you are a person who's lived a whole life probably numbing yourself. Naturally, as human beings, we numb ourselves, and a lot of us live through fear unless we're consciously on a journey on addressing those things. But what happens is we're detached from the body so that we can numb ourselves from these fears, but the emotions are there. We just detach from them. So I believe that golf really is just exposing what's going on with your subconscious state. And in that very moment in that sport, to think that you can actually try to find stillness in that moment and move, the only way it can be done is through control. But now control is from a place of fear, right? So there needs to be a separate practice outside of the golf, and an understanding that the foundation is all about really trying to get that mind-body mastery and that relationship, that practice. And if you want to use the sport of golf as more time into that practice and detach from, it's not about, the shot, but it's about right at this moment, I'm training my mind and body to have a relationship. So what do I want to train? I want to train my mind and body to be at peace together. So it's not about telling your mind to tell you what to do, but to surrender the conscious mind.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? To let go, not to come from a place of control.
I'm sorry,
but just
Tim was
let it
saying
go.
something. What?
Well, surrender is right
Just
on,
surrender.
right on. Everyone, but when you say surrender in our society now, people think that's like giving up.
No.
To me, I view it as that's a place where you go in and it's a place of trust.
But the fact is, there's 6 million people playing golf or whatever the number is in North America, and most of them aren't. It's one of the things that when you say you don't know what you don't know, most golfers don't even consider that there's this huge other thing going on. They've played golf their whole lives, guys our age. It's like they do the same thing over and over again, and wonder why the results are same. This topic today isn't about strategy, about how to hit your 9-iron better. It's about what is going on with us as players, as people, that's preventing us from enjoying it on even a most rudimentary level. And all this stuff that we're talking about now is really just, it's why a lot of us aren't enjoying all parts of our lives. We just happen to use golf as a sort of a way to, it's a metaphor for how shitty the rest of it is.
Yep.
Well, it's not just golf, really. It's any sport. It's it almost becomes like an escape or a safe place, right? It's not. And it's very common for athletes when their sport ends, they kind of feel lost, right? It's their identity. So it's very important to understand that it doesn't matter how professional of an athlete you are or a golfer you are, there needs to be a greater purpose. You're not a golfer. You are something greater than that. And when you acknowledge that, then you can go on the golf course or whatever, on a soccer field, or it doesn't matter. Knowing that and being at ease to know that at the end of the day, you're just, it's about finding that ease and grace within everything that you do and bringing that into the golf course. And when you make it so much about the sport, you're not seeing the greater picture, then sure, of course, it's going to be like this, this battle of trying to control everything, so.
One of the things I wanted to talk a little bit with Rosa before she goes is, and I don't know, I mean, Rosa is just one of those very, very special people that sort of got this early on in life, and a lot of us could, maybe take a page from this. RiseMindBody.com. Go check out the new site. And, I'm not sure if this is about you getting new clients, but they're certainly you're going to get people to maybe be fans of your way of thinking, especially when it comes to getting yourself ready for golf. Mm-hmm. One of the things that, a lot of guys do, they hit the gym in January, February, March. They try and, get in better shape. But your point to me was you can't get in better shape. You can't build muscle on injured areas. And like traditionally you go in there and do bicep curls. Yeah, your biceps might get bigger, but you're not going to build the correct, how do you call it? What's the word you always say? Like an operating system almost. Like it's not going to work the way you want it to.
No, well, the whole body works like a chain, so I'm not sure that I know what it is specifically.
Well, you're saying you can build muscle, but if you build muscle on top of...
You can build muscle like superficially, but we're not accessing deeper layers that are... And how you know you're doing that is over time, you get injured, you hit a plateau, you realize, how come my bench press won't go up until you either stop because of an injury or because you just can't go higher or whatever. So there's so much more to that.
But how much, when it comes to golf, what are golfers generally doing wrong when it comes to time getting ready for golf?
I have to say... It's just a lack of connection between mind-body relationship, ultimately. So if I had to recommend something for golfers or anyone in life, this would end up being advice for anyone in life, but let's make this specific to what we're talking about, is that the mind and body are with each other 24/7. Right? So you have, except for the fact that you're sleeping, say, for 8 hours a day, okay? You have 16 potential hours to master. It takes 10,000 hours to master something. You have 16 potential hours to master that mind-body connection. And so simply just being mindful all day. When you're driving, if you catch your thoughts, put your mind on how your hand's holding the steering wheel, pressing your back up against it. Right there, that's a moment that you just you invest in towards this mastery. And simple things like that, you will find when you go on the golf course, when you have to get in that zone, it's natural to you because you're programming it.
Well, we've talked to a bunch of experts. Tim and I know a bunch of guys that have great methodology around becoming more mindful on the golf course. And that's a great thing that Rosa said. I mean, our friend Doolin has this, simple technique of, keeping your eyes on the horizon. And Adam's right. You can't learn it in one day, but over the course of a round, you can keep practicing moments. I like that idea. Practicing moments of mindfulness continually take you away from all the other things that we hate about ourselves when we golf.
Yeah.
And know what those moments are investing into. Like if you knew that, okay, I have a bucket of moments of awareness or presence. Once I get to 10,000 moments, I'll be an amazing golfer. Because we know for a fact the moment that we have a great swing or that we do well in the sport is the moment that we're still. And we know to achieve that stillness, we need to have a mastery in that mind-body connection. So look at it as, okay, so next
almost
time,
like an investment.
Yeah, so now look at it as, okay, when you hit the ball and it's not a good one, so what? Like even how you react to how it was is another potential moment on how you relate that mind body. It's not just about that, you know what I mean? So that the next swing's going to be better just because how your reaction.
Right,
to
as
it.
you say, you need 10,000 hours of those moments. Timmy?
Totally.
Well, it's all about how we respond versus react, and what we take into our regular lives. You cannot flip a switch on any of this stuff. It's like reading a tip in Golf Digest and try and take it to the first tee. This is the same thing. You can't just flip a switch and say, I'm going to be more mindful for this round.
Right.
No.
You have to be practicing this and ingrain it.
Yeah.
So what I advise clients to do, and it takes a while to get this, is that they can do something what I call a body scan. And while they're just going to take the shot, they just sit there and just scan through their body. What's going on?
Totally.
And that, if there's one thing you can do on the golf course, that'll help you hugely. Now, so if you're feeling some tension in your shoulders, you just kind of be with your shoulders and it'll go away. So it is a large process. It's a journey, but there's little things we can do, and the body scan is one of them.
But the point of this
That's
show,
brilliant.
the point of this show is really to get you to understand that there is a step one to be taken. And if you don't know that, at least knowing that, it is a process, but you got to know you have to begin it. And that maybe this is the golf season that you start focusing on this as something to be mindful of versus trying to cure your slice or trying to make a different move that, frankly, at this point in your golfing life, like by the time you're our age, there's a lot of stuff that you're going to have. That's your golf swing. But this stuff we're talking about, you can actually make that change. And I think that what we're doing here is making you aware that there's a change to be made.
Well, it's interesting. The body scan is actually like the first thing I teach my clients before any weight training is, first you need to know your body. So doing a body scan. But the interesting thing is, as I would teach my clients that, I realized, and you'll find this in golf as well, we get in position and then we'll feel the tension shoulder and we start moving the shoulder. We try to control the tension. So it's also important that as we scan the body, when we acknowledge the tension, we need to just witness the tension. It's how you approach the tension as well. So once you acknowledge tension, just stare at it, just be with it, and in being with it, it will relax, right? So that's very, very important. I just want to bring it back.
And that's versus trying to say, fix
it now.
Fix mechanics in my slice so I get rid of it. That's investing in it versus just investing your time and your energies into a way of being that you want.
Absolutely.
Is there anything on that scribbly pad of notes that you never got a chance to?
We don't want to waste anything.
Yes, okay.
This has got to be the last thing.
Okay, I know a lot of golfers go into the gym and they weight train and they do these extra pretty golf-specific type movements, right? So it's really important that they understand that at the end of the day, body mechanics is body mechanics. So how the body moves it doesn't have to be fancy, okay? I think, in my opinion, it's a selling tactic. I think if you can just, first of all, get your mind and body connected and understand that when you do weight training, for example, for example, if I hate a person or if I hate a lollipop, the mind doesn't know what you're hating. It just knows you're experiencing hate, right? So when you're in the weight training room...
What if you hate both a person and a lollipop?
Mind doesn't know.
What if you hate a person with a lollipop?
How could I hate a lollipop?
No, because they took your lollipop. Okay.
Then we're just talking about varying degrees of hate, right?
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, just when you go to the weight room, your mind doesn't know if it's experiencing stress from weight training, stress from being chased by a lion. It can't distinguish what it's being stressed by.
Okay.
So when you go into the weight room, understand that you're teaching the body, okay, I'm exposed to stress. How am I going to handle this? So, grunting and training your body to be strong with tension is not the way. It's not going to translate into golf. golf, but understanding that it's about strengthening with ease and with grace. And then it's by doing that it's actually going to bring that programming into the golf game.
What do you always say? You always say with tension, lose the tension.
Let go of the. I'll say hold on to the strength, but let go of the tension.
Hold on to the strength, let go of the tension, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we'll end today's session. I'm listening.
Wow,
Dr.
you're
Tim
passionate. Thank you.
Say again?
She's passionate. I love it.
Really? Why do you think she's here? Adam Kingsbury, thank you for being on the show. He's going to be a doctor soon. That'll be weird for me. Dr. Punk. Rosa, risemindbody.com. This won't be the last time we have you on. Unbelievable person.
Get the rest of the scribblings on.
Tim O'Connor, o'connorgolf.ca. Tim is available for all kinds of things. You know, you need some help around the
Coffee.
yard. That's right. If you're looking for some help around
Listen
the
to your
house.
demo tape. Look at your golf swing.
What do you... Tim's currently working with some good junior players and some other players.
Yeah, at the Club Link Academy, working with... these are kids who... it's kind of like the AAA golfers.
Right.
And what amazing kids. It's really fun to work with them. And... They're just like adult golfers. They're just not really aware of what's going on.
Do you have room in your schedule, though, for people that might listen and say, I would like to work with you, o'connorgolf.ca? Is there hours in the day still?
Oh, I can squeeze a few in. Yes, right. Of course, there's lots of room.
So if you go to Tim's website, Tim will hook you up. He has got a great offer, too. And I've sent some people, friends of mine have taken Tim up on his offer, which is pretty good. He'll give you a break on some introductory sessions. Because I think, and we all think it's important that you start thinking about this as a way to, there's no mastery in golf. There really is, I think, the whole point of this for me is that you just want to enjoy it more. Because really, it's supposed to be something you love doing.
It's a practice of life that's just taken in the form of golf in that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so weird, and it took me a long time to understand that I don't care how good I am at it, and I am physically pretty good at it. But the fact that you need to enjoy it more took me like 70 years.
And it's amazing how much better you play when you approach golf from a place of just how much freedom can I enjoy, what can I learn about myself and be with others. Really, you're talking about witnessing. Yeah. Ken Wilber, philosopher, unity. Mm-hmm. And when we have unity in our lives, that's when there's peace and there's grace that you talked about. And everything flows better. And woo-woo, this is just like the start of the show.
And the thing is, you can have all that stuff and still shank it. But the idea is you won't care.
But you don't beat the crap out of yourself.
Exactly. Okay, yeah. I promised Tim that we'd play some Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Well, you're making me joyful and sad. Maurice White of Earth, Wind, and Fire died this week. Man, what a great artist, great music. Now, you talking about getting in your body. Holy crap.
He was 74 years old.
Yeah, Parkinson's, unfortunately.
Yeah, what a great band. And it's funny because I remember playing, I played this song as a young announcer, but also the Beatles, they did the cover of Got to Get Into My Life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable. Anyways, I wanted to make sure, because Tim was feeling sad about Earth, Wind, and Fire, and he wanted to know if I felt sad about a song, would I play poorly? And I said, I don't. I can't answer that. Rosa, thank you very much for coming in. Thanks for listen, it's funny. I went, my golf teacher is a friend we've had on the show, Sean Casey. And I've been working with Rosa for, I don't know, is it coming into the fourth week?
Yes, 4 weeks.
But I hadn't seen Casey in a couple weeks. So I've been working with Rosa like 3 or 4 times a week. And then Casey sees me 2 days ago. And it's funny because he says to me, what have you been doing? I said, what? He said, look at you. He says, you're jacked. I go, I'm not jacked. He goes, and have you had a chin tuck? I'm like, what?
No, that's from the Booze Clan.
That's what I said. He said, you look different. I said, well, it's Rosa, okay? He goes, oh, yeah.
And Rosa.
Casey knows Rosa. All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe and share it on Facebook and on Twitter. And we'll see you next week.
In the dark, it's raining in the park. But meantime, sound of the river, you stop and you hold everything. A band is blowing Dixie, double fall time.